Hello and welcome back to another video. So today we're doing our 2020 review of the Galaxy Fold. As you may or may not know, I got this phone on Swappa for about $900. When it was new, it started at nearly $2,000. Buying a Fold used is one of the only ways that a lot of people can actually afford to get this kind of phone. Although this is last year's model, the specs are top notch. I love that we get 512 gigabytes of base storage. This phone is currently running One UI 2.1 based on Android 10. Surprisingly, although it costs more than other Samsung flagships, software updates usually take a little bit longer to arrive on the Fold. Speaking of software, we should really talk about the software experience because that's really important when considering this phone. I've actually come to like One UI as a whole overall. I've enjoyed it on the Note 20 Ultra, the Note 10 Plus, the S10, but on the Fold, it isn't as consistent when you're going around the entire operating system due to the form factor. There are many really cool Fold features, like the way we multitask. I enjoy doing multitasking on this phone rather than on any other phone. We have app continuity, and we have the ability to be able to see desktop versions of websites very easily on the large display. However, the software supports from many apps is just not on the level of that on its smaller flagship brothers. Apps like Twitter, Pokemon Go, and others actually cut off information at times because they aren't built for this aspect ratio on Android. The software experience is usable overall, but we really need better app support to take advantage of this kind of display than what we are currently getting. So let's talk about our biometric options. We have a side-mounted fingerprint scanner. It works pretty well overall. Sometimes I find it hard to find where it is on here, but you can also use the optional optical face unlock, which is what I use as well. I put both of them on, so it's not really anything special, but it's nice overall. One of the coolest aspects of this phone is the display and design. Truthfully, there's nothing like this form factor. It's so unique for me. I have used a lot of smartphones, but there is nothing like this. The design of the outer display gives you a phone, and the design of the inner display gives you a tablet, all in one. It's just innovative. The extra weight is not an issue to me, however it is noticeable, but the overall feel of the phone is well balanced and very premium. The inner display is indeed a 7.3-inch 1536p display, and it's really nice. The crease is noticeable off axis, but I don't notice it most of the time. And the fact that it just folds is so fascinating. The only negative is that the display is plastic and thus more prone to scratches, but you could use a matte or a regular screen protector like I do. As for content consumption, because of the display and the nice speakers, watching content on here is just a pleasure overall. But the notch does cut off some of the content when you're watching it in full screen. That being said, you can disable the notch and then it doesn't cut off any of the content, but we obviously get more black bars and less overall screen usage. I do personally keep the notch on because I like having the extra information up there, and it's usually not an issue for me. And the speakers on here are really good. So let's give a quick test of that. So as you can tell probably by that speaker test, the speakers are great. They're very loud, very clear, and they make the content consumption experience even better. Okay, so now let's talk about battery life. So the phone features a 4380 milliamp hour battery powering this beast of a phone. Although that might not sound like enough to hold up this large display and everything, especially when you're multitasking and stuff, it really has been enough for me. I'm getting around 8 hours of screen on time, and I'm even ending the day with more battery than usual. That is due to my decrease in overall usage, which I attribute to the size and nature of the outer display. The phone gets me easily through a day where I can place it on my wireless charger at the end of the night, and that is all I can ask for. A major consideration to many when buying a phone is its camera. The original Fold is not as good as some others in 2020, like the iPhone, the Pixel, and even my Galaxy Note 20 Ultra that I had. However, that doesn't mean the camera isn't good. The night mode is not that great, but the normal shots are still very solid. It has a very good ultra-wide camera as well. It's very comparable to the S10's camera, which is not a bad thing at all. Most will be very happy, and video recording is solid as well. So now we have performance and gaming. The performance is top notch. And what can we expect out of the Snapdragon 855 with 12 gigabytes of RAM? It's not the Snapdragon 865, but I've still experienced little to no lag whatsoever. Everyday tasks are quick and easy. As for gaming, I'll show you a full video and I'll link it in the card and in the description. Before we get to the final verdict, I want to talk about the cool factor. I haven't really talked about this with many phones, but as I mentioned earlier, this phone is very unique. I've never had so many people who aren't interested in tech per se ask me about the phone I'm using. Family and friends have just wanted to try this thing out when I've taken it out of my pocket and used it. Here we get a tablet out of a phone that folds. The engineering that was put into this is just so admirable. Using this phone is very exciting and I enjoy doing so partially because of this cool factor. However, this finally leads us to the final verdict. Durability is my biggest concern with this phone. There is no IP rating, and the plastic display is more prone to fatal damage than most phones if you put too much pressure or anything. If you get this used for $900, it is a much better deal than getting a Galaxy Z Fold 2 new. That being said, the phone is likely nearing the end of its warranty by the time it gets in your hands. If you can get coverage through your carrier like I have, do it to keep your peace of mind at least. There isn't a single phone like this for $900, and I feel many of you will love to use it. All that in consideration, you will have to deal with the trade-offs that we've mentioned with this first-gen product, so should you buy it? Maybe, it just depends. But I really have personally loved using this phone, so thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe if you're new, and peace.